can't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Eevee and make it look easy.
What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, today's video, we're gonna be talking about Invincible Iron Man number 15, written by Gerry Duggan, with art by Chris Lees, inks by Walden Wong, and color by Brian Valenza. We learned something very telling about Wolverine in this issue, something that I feel is probably going to have some people very upset with Gerry Duggan, probably because that's just the nature of comics. I honestly think it's kind of funny and cool at the same time, but I know there's going to be people who are going to be very in their feelings, crying into their comics this week, and it's because while Wolverine proper is not exactly in this issue, an Sentinel, which is basically a human-sized, or more specifically Wolverine-sized Sentinel, is actually in this. These are Sentinels that are built from the corpses of Wolverine left laying around earlier in the House of X era, and one of them was sent after Tony Stark in the previous issue. And while Tony Stark, the man, is no match for adamantium, and really neither would any of his previous armors have held up very well to it either, his new armor, the Mark 72, might just be the straw that broke the adamantium camel's back. Whenever debuting a new Iron Man armor, you have to show off just how badass it is in some way, and what better way to make this armor look like a contender for the best Iron Man armor ever created? Show Wolverine's claws literally bend trying to pierce the Mark 72. Yes, Iron Man's new armor, made of Mysterium, mind you, is unlike anything else on Earth. We all know what they say, adamantium is the strongest metal on Earth. And even Tony Stark says in this issue, vibranium is really the only metal on Earth that can even defend against adamantium. But we have to remember, Mysterium is not of this earth. And it's interesting too, because we have talked about the properties of Mysterium before, and while it seems like early in its inception, Mysterium wasn't quite as strong as either adamantium or vibranium, or maybe it was kind of like close to being on par with it. We have seen recently, just with some of the other devices that Tony Stark has made, all of which are pretty impressive in their own right, the cane that he made for Wilson Fisk, aka the Kingpin, a cane that is impervious to Captain Marvel's strength. She couldn't even bend it. Doctor Strange's own magic could not affect it, and it even bypassed Spider-Man's spider sense. So it would make sense that a new armor created by Iron Man would very likely not be pierced by Wolverine's adamantium claws. The claws, as I said earlier, they bend against this, like literally bending to the point that they look mangled. It's rare we see Wolverine's claws, at least when they're coated with adamantium, it's rare we ever see them bent or harmed in such a way. And this, if nothing else, is proof positive that, yeah, this is easily his best armor yet. Now, before I get to the other crazy thing that happens this issue, I do want to point out something. I mentioned that he has created things for other characters. We also saw he created the necklace for War Machine while he's in prison. A necklace I was under the impression would very likely give him his War Machine armor so he could bust his way out of prison and join in on the fight. We haven't really seen that pay dividends quite yet, but we also see him give another gift, and it's a pair of knuckle dusters for Emma Frost. Now, these are very reminiscent of the knuckle dusters we have seen Emma Frost rock at one of the previous Hellfire galas. This time around, these are outfitted with repulsor technology, powerful enough to melt the head off of a Stark Tech Sentinel. Granted, it was a double blast from both herself and Iron Man simultaneously, but still, that's pretty damn impressive. And they're going to need all of this, because now that Fei Long realizes that he has fallen for the trap that Tony and Firestar laid for Orchis in the previous issue, now it seems he's running to his own Stark Tech Sentinel, one that he can pilot himself, modeled after War Machine, and seemingly about roughly the same size as the other Stark Tech Sentinels, but outfitted with a lot more heavy artillery. But even that isn't the end of it. we learn the Mark 72 is actually not the only thing Iron Man made for himself. We'd been following the last couple of issues of Iron Man with Ironheart and Forge having gone to Nidavellir, the home of the dwarves, to build a fleet of ships. The purpose of these ships was to transport the mutants of Arakko to Earth so that they could take the fight to Orcus once and for all. But that wasn't entirely the truth. It was a lie in case Fei Long learned Tony's true plan. The ships aren't actually ships at all. Tony had Riri and Forge build for him a Sentinel Buster, Tony's most powerful armor ever created. This thing is Megazord sized, massively taller and denser than any of the Stark Tech Sentinels, making them all look like mere children before him. And I wouldn't even say children, I would say toddlers or infants standing before him. And if the Mark 72, which by his own admission was not intended to be a standalone armor but a mere flight suit to pilot the Sentinel Buster, if this Mark 72 suit was supposed to be the next big thing, this, the Sentinel Buster, is even bigger. The Mark 72 itself was already more than a match for an ex-Sentinel and a Stark Tech Sentinel, no less. Imagine the reign of destruction Tony Stark is about to unleash with his mighty Morphin Stark Zord. You guessed it, obligatory channel outro time. If you're not subscribed to the channel, consider doing so. Clicking that subscribe button and tapping that notification bell ensures that you get more videos just like this one, and you don't miss any of my other content that I drop throughout the week, plus my live streams every Thursday and Saturday. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you click that like button, keep it plus ultra, and sound off in the comments.